Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading Bhagavad-Gita as it is. Chapter 12, Devotional Service, text number 8, correct?
Yes.
Very good. Mayy mana ādhatsva mayi buddhiṁ niveśaya nivasiṣyasi mayeva ataḥ ūrdhvaṁ na saṁśayaḥ mayi upon me eva certainly manaḥ mind ādhatsva fix mayi upon me buddhim intelligence niveśaya apply nivasiṣyasi you will live mayi in me eva certainly ataḥ ūrdhvam thereafter na never saṁśayaḥ doubt. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always, without a doubt. Please repeat. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me, always, without a doubt. Srila Prabhupada's purport. One who is engaged in Lord Krishna's devotional service lives in a direct relationship with the Supreme Lord, so there is no doubt that his position is transcendental from the very beginning. A devotee does not live on the material plane. He lives in Krishna. The holy name of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. Therefore, when a devotee chants Hare Krishna, Krishna and his internal potency are dancing on the tongue of the devotee. When he offers Krishna food, Krishna directly accepts these eatables, and the devotee becomes Krishna-ized by eating the remnants. One who does not engage in such service cannot understand how this is so, although this is a process recommended in the Bhagavad-Gita and in other Vedic literatures. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Krishna is directly speaking that we should use our intelligence and endeavor to serve him, to live with him, and he's giving an indication that he's not different than his holy name. So one who's hearing about Krishna, chanting Krishna's holy name, he's living on a different level, a different platform. Sometimes Prabhupada would be asked, what is the difference between devotees who are cooking rice, dal, sabji, chapatis? Ordinary people are doing the same thing. The difference is that the mentality, the purpose of cooking is for the pleasure of the Lord. And the purpose of working or any activity is for the pleasure of Krishna. So the whole creation of this material world was specifically for the purpose of all of us conditioned souls who want to enjoy separately, or who want to try to squeeze out some enjoyment from this material existence. Now Lord Indra is pouring down the rains. Some rain is coming. Material world is a very fearful place, because although one may be optimistic, thinking that, it's not so bad, nice family, I got a good bank account, I landed a good job, I have a good job, nice set of wheels, they call it the vehicle. They're thinking that, why be so pessimistic, why be so negative? But any book of knowledge, any yoga system, if one wants to put a real solution to a problem, it doesn't mean that by sticking our head in the sand, the problem will go away. They call it like the ostrich. So they're trying very desperately in material life with technology, engineering, more machines, space rockets, the contraceptive pills, many ways to enjoy this world to the utmost. While we have senses, we have to enjoy. After all, we're already in this body, in this material world. There are senses. You want to see something beautiful, you want to hear something nice, taste, touch, smell. All the senses, everything is provided for by Krishna. But the whole idea of human form of life is to question that I see my friends are becoming old, some have died, some of my close friends that I used to travel on Sankirtan, Mahashring and I, for many, many years we used to travel, do book distribution together, and now he's passed away. My friend Bhuvaneshwar passed away. So many people are leaving this world. My father, my grandfather, so many of our relatives, and all of us are astonished to look in the mirror and see what this youthful form is turning into, isn't it? And no matter how many beautification ointments, oils, or energetic pills, rejuvenating, techniques that we undergo, human body is born, it grows, it produces some byproducts in the form of children and/or it dwindles and dies. But the astonishing thing is that Maya illusion is so, the grip of Maya, it keeps us bound and covered with the false hope that there will be some happiness here, that our nation will prevail, the Roman Empire or this empire, so many people are thinking themselves to be, America number one, or India's number one, and now China, then Russia, and then there's all this fighting. But this has been going on since time immemorial. The demigods are fighting with the demons. Just imagine the Lord's created this whole material world, and we've discussed many times how Atmabu, Lord Brahma, doesn't have the regular mother and father, but is born from a lotus, from the Lord, from Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And the Lord empowers him in such a way that sometimes he thinks he is the creator. Lord Brahma is very powerful. So he creates the 14 planetary systems, and every day of Brahma, they're destroyed. Then again he creates them. And Lord Krishna, in his heart, Tene Brahma Hrida Adhikavye Moyanti Surya. So he's giving knowledge. It's not that the Lord just creates, looks over material nature, impregnates with all the living entities and just lets it go. This is our desire. Krishna is very kind, very merciful. I don't know if anybody's had children, but sometimes as little children, I want this, and they cry, okay, take it, but it's not good for you. And so, although we wanted this separate independence, we wanted to be independent, we want to see if we can actually, there's some enjoyment in this world. But from the very beginning, Krishna's teaching that all the different species of life, all the different planetary systems, there's a big problem. There's this repetition of birth and death. Samsara. From the high Abrahma Bhuvanaloka Punaravartano Arjuna. The highest planet in this universe. We can go to Siddhaloka, Brahmaloka, Satyaloka. So many higher planetary systems. We could have heavenly delights. Live in the heavenly planets, eat good, enjoy so-called enjoyments of life. Everything's provided, and when we abuse or when our bank account runs out from our pious activities, we go down. And then when we perform sinful activities against the law of God, just like an ordinary governmental criminal justice system, if somebody's breaking the law, they get punished. There's imprisonment. So Durga, she's keeping us prisoner, and we have so many witnesses, but ultimately the Lord in the heart, he's watching, he's seeing, he's facilitating all our desires, everything. And although the very idea of, well, if karma's already fixed, then what's the use of chanting Hare Krishna or hearing this philosophy? This is the loophole. I know I was going to the airport one time and it says emergency exit, like just to get out of that flow of traffic, you can escape. So there's a big flow going on in this material world called samsara, birth, old age, disease, and death. Birth, old age, disease, and death. The complications in the womb are described by Lord Kapila Dev, how you're packed in a bag and there's so much suffering. We're thinking, oh, it's only a little baby, there's no consciousness, doesn't know anything, doesn't feel anything. What do we really know? What is happening to that living entity in the womb? Or if it's actually praying to the Lord to please free me from this awkward situation, and the suffering that I will use this human gift for God consciousness. But as we emerge into the material world, all our loving parents are waiting, the relatives are waiting. Oh, look at the cute darling. He looks so beautiful, and they're all cuddling very nicely. Baby is hungry, but then they're thinking, why is he crying? Maybe he's got some pain, give him some bitter medicine. You can't talk. So there's a lot of, one may have a romantic idea that such a beautiful thing, a new baby born in our family, in our tradition, in our culture. But this is the illusion of material existence. Not that we neglect or don't perform our duties to take care of family, because we also have responsibility with this human form of life, where we have to, just like you get electricity, you got to pay the electric bill, otherwise they cut your power. So we have so many obligations to our parents, we have so many duties to perform, but it's described that if one is fortunate, he has an opportunity to meet a bona fide spiritual master. And that bona fide spiritual master is one who's representing Krishna. He's non-different than Krishna, because Krishna, he is the giver of religion, the giver of knowledge. he's speaking in the form of Lord Kapila-Dev, in the form of Lord Krishna, as Vyasadeva. It's amazing when you read these translations and purports. I feel like Srila Prabhupada is non-different than Srila Vyasadeva. Srila Vyasadeva is non-different than Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in that sense, the Son and the Father, the representative of God and the Father are one, because their purpose is one, to give knowledge of how to get free of suffering. You know, you think someone who's very philanthropic or giving, loving personality opens hospitals or takes care of orphanages and or, you know, abused women or abused men or whatever, you know, animals. And you think, oh, this person is very good, you know, very compassionate. So imagine that person who tirelessly and eagerly and enthusiastically is equipping himself. First of all, if you're going to get on the battlefield, you need to have armor. You need to, you know, protect yourself. You need to have the weapons. So equip with the weapon of knowledge. Even though we may be illiterate or incompetent in many ways, Krishna reveals, he gives us guidance, he gives us direction. He enables us according to our desire. If we're enthusiastic to hear about Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. Yayatamang prapajate tangs tataiva bhajamyaham. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. It's not a game. Oh well, you know, if you're showing some devotion, I'll give you benedictions. But it's a personal, loving exchange. Like just, you know, we have a temple. We have so many devotees. Those who are really fired up and really enthusiastic. You know, we try to work together and make something for Krishna's, for the satisfaction of Krishna. So in the same way, the pure devotee is one who's totally sold out to Krishna. A Shradhana Purusha, that, you know, that one has faith. Because without one who's faithless, who's atheistic, who's demonic in nature, who has bad qualities, who doesn't have tolerance, cleanliness, mercy, you know, friend to all living beings, one who doesn't develop the godly qualities, the Brahminical qualities, the Vaishnava qualities, then he remains on the mundane bodily platform of envy, jealousy, anger, hate. And how do we develop these things? How do we, it's actually yasyasti bhaktir bhagavat kinchana savar gunais tatra samasate sura. Devotee naturally has all these good qualifications because we're part of Krishna. Krishna has all the attributes to the fullest. We may have some minute, but right now we're covered. We're covered by the identity of our skin, our birth. Sometimes we're born in India, sometimes in Europe, sometimes in America, Africa, China, all over, anywhere, everywhere, sometimes in the ocean. So many living entities are there. So we should see the great benediction we have. I don't know, it's described that it's very, very difficult. Once you're lost in the cycle of birth and death in the material world, it's very difficult to get out. It's not that Krishna makes it difficult, it's just that we have this, you know, complexity of this enjoying spirit until it's properly directed, until all the layers are the lust, greed, envy, jealousy, you know, all the things which keep us from experiencing the transparency of pure consciousness. Because the pure consciousness, once we have a taste, parang drishtava navartate, that once we actually understand and really taste the idea that by performing a little bit of austerity and yajna, but it's made easy by Lord Chaitanya, because why? Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Goratvashe Namaha. They're all the same Lord, but he's in a good mood. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, they see Kali Yuga, people are very fallen, they're lost. So Krishna's always trying to retrieve, but with our intelligence, when we try to hear from Bhagavad-Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, that the Lord only appears in one day of Brahma, you're talking billions of years. What to speak of millions of years, or thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, or even 1,000 years. It seems like a long time. Oh, Lord Jesus came 2,000 years ago. Oh, such a long time ago. It's totally insignificant. We've been in this creation for billions and trillions of repeated millenniums of creation, existence, annihilation, creation. Every breath, the Lord's every single breath, the whole manifestation takes place, and then again within the Lord. So that's beyond our ability, our tiny little brain. We're just trying to think about how I can get some Mahaprasad and how I can live peacefully and try to get by on a day-to-day basis. So we might think that, well, you're okay because, you have a bank account or something like that. Everybody has their tests and troubles. Krishna's testing, or not that Krishna's testing, but the tests are there because ultimately we have to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. There's one story they tell about, the great flood was coming, rains were coming, and this one God-believing person said, well, everyone should evacuate. He said, no, God will protect me. So then he had to go to the second floor. Then the boat came by and said, hey, come on. No, you go ahead, God will protect me. Okay, so then the water keeps rising. He's on the roof. The helicopter comes and sends the ladder and come. No, God will protect me. So he drowns and he complains to God. He said, what happened, God? Why you forsake me? He goes, I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter. What else you want? I mean, the Lord is sending us messages in the form, we shouldn't think that, the devotees, we're going out, we're selling, distributing books, and no, I have my God. So all of us somehow, with a little bit of faith and a lot of agyata sukriti, blessings from Srila Prabhupada, the Guru Parampara, we've been made fortunate. But I believe Sri Hari was giving Bhagavatam class the other day, saying there's only a couple 100,000 initiated devotees, and we really need to expand our society. Not that we're looking for a huge following, but out of compassion and out of love. When Srila Prabhupada would see the condition of Kali Yuga and the suffering of the living entity, he would cry. He would feel great unhappiness. Prahlad Maharaj felt great unhappiness at the suffering of other living entities. He was so concerned. He thought, my father committed so many sinful activities. He probably is suffering in hell. Can you do me, at least free my father? So, 21 generations are freed for the devotee. We're not monetarily calculating, well, maybe I should become a devotee so I can free all my 21 generations of family members. For whatever reason, we should become pure. We should become devotees of the Lord. Have faith that let me increase the intensity of my reading so I can try to clearly understand philosophically the greatness of Krishna. Let me sit and chant the holy name with the devotees, because there's a certain satsanga, some potency by, I could be speaking to one person, but now we have 15 or so devotees all listening to hear something about Krishna, to hear something about how I can inspire or rejuvenate my enthusiasm so that I can actually, pure devotional service. I just read about Lord Kapila Dev. He said, if one just simply hears about the pastime of Lord Kapila Dev and Devahuti, he'll achieve love for God, pure devotional service. And then one is chanting Krishna's holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Even one name. We don't know the potency. When a Jamil called out Narayan, devotees were reading to Prabhupada, he said, he called out 3 times, Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Prabhupada said, did I say that? So once is enough. One time chanting is sufficient. Krishna, he hears he doesn't have any hearing aid problems. That sound vibration is non-different than Krishna. Of course, purely chanting the holy name, the Shuddha Nam, the pure name, it takes some time, some realization, but look at the intensity of Dhruva Maharaj. Matter of 6 months, each month performing more and more austerities naturally. It came natural because maybe the age, the time in which, but also his Kshatriya spirit, the message of Narada Muni, and his determination somehow or other to achieve that goal. But Narada gave him Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and he performed great austerities and achieved very rapid progress. But we're not here to imitate Dhruva Maharaj or even the 6 Goswamis. Who can imagine Raghunath Das Goswami coming from such a prestigious, wealthy family, unlimited funds? He's only, just wearing some simple loincloth, eating a pat of butter every other day. They're hardly eating or sleeping, but they're absorbed in the loving mood of the gopis, looking for Radharani and the gopis. Are you at Govardhan? Are you by the Jamuna? And we're here in Vrindavan Dham. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very excited and made several attempts to come to Sri Vrindavan Dham, and also came to Vrindavan Dham. So we should consider ourselves as one of the most luckiest people in the whole universe and in all time as well, because not only do we have the message of Krishna, but we have it explained to us in such a way that it's digestible. Sometimes the message of Godhead, if it's not being presented according to Siddhanta or properly, very easily one can get deviated in word jugglery. Oh yes, the goal of life is to emerge into the effulgence of the Lord, which is the source of everything. Or many other kinds of philosophy, amongst the philosophy, like Krishna was telling Nanda Maharaj and about that Govardhan Leela for the Indra Puja, that what's the use? As long as you're doing your duty nicely, then the results will come. Perform your duty nicely, the result, people think if you're good things will come, which is true, but good or bad, we're forced to stay in this world to cash in on good karma, bad karma. We want to get free from karma, isn't it? Akama sarvo kama va moksha kamo daradi tivrena bhakti-yogena yajeta purusham param. Whether one is full of desires, without material desires, or desires liberation, we should take shelter of the Supreme Lord, and then we become shanti, become peaceful, become free from fear. We actually become very clear in consciousness, determined that I have a window of opportunity, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 100 years. We have a small window of opportunity. We've boarded a vehicle that's suitable for awakening love for God. And no other species of life can question, who am I? Why am I here in this world? Everyone's interested just eating, family, maintenance. So we have enough of that. We have plenty of family responsibilities, and we take care nicely. But the Vedic structure, the Sanatana Dharma is set up in such a way that depending on one's desires and qualifications, one can be brahmachari for life, or one can get proper training and take householder life, bring a God-conscious family, and then one at a given time one should retire and actually focus on the spirit within, on the purpose and goal of life, perform our activities for the pleasure of the Lord, and then full renunciation, sannyas. So these are not just simply that's for other people, it's not meant for me, it's meant for all of us. We're born in this world. In ideal civilization, the leaders, the brahmanas, the king, they would guide people so they would do their duties nicely. So ultimately, at the end, or not only at the end, but during, there's certain sacrifices, garbhadan samskara, to have a nice child, name-giving ceremony, this ceremony, that ceremony. The father passes away, there's the shraddha ceremony. So many ceremonies are there. So all these responsibilities will be totally taken care of by taking up this process of bhakti, devotional service. And although it is simple, it is actually a very pleasurable, full of happiness, but one who's hesitant or reluctant due to maybe not having firm faith, maybe keeping one foot in, one foot out, thinking, well, there's still some pleasure, some enjoyment. When I get a little bit older, maybe I can renounce everything wholeheartedly. But generally, it's difficult to train old dog new tricks. So it's best, as when one is young, they question Prabhupada, why is it only young people are joining your society? Because the old people get conditioned in their habits and their ways and become very cynical and closed-minded, and they become impious in one sense, antagonistic, atheistic, agnostic, and even antagonistic. Sometimes they become vengeful, even hateful of the Supreme Lord, and they want to dismiss his existence because they think that, if there's no God, then it doesn't matter. When I'm dead, nothing, it's all finished. But you can't even kill yourself. You might destroy this body, but then again you're forced into another body, again and again and again. So how to get off this roller coaster, how to get off this Ferris wheel? Only by the help of a pure devotee. Srila Prabhupada has come to save us. Next 10,000 years, Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda's glories and mercy, the chanting of the holy name, the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the saving grace. May not be philosophically inclined, and you spend more time hearing the Mahamantra, hearing the chanting of the holy name, seeing the deities, perform some service, some duty. We can always, clean the Lord's temple, and just by hearing the holy name, you're performing great service. All day long, Sanatana Goswami was hearing Bhagavatam instead of doing his duties in the government position. So I was thinking I should go home and do more hearing and chanting of Bhagavatam, less management. But I found, because for many years I've been involved either on Sankirtan or management, that the more we hear about Krishna, the more we try to follow this process by chanting and hearing, then difficult things become much easier. And if we think by our own intelligence and our own ability that we're going to make things, by controlling things in a very organized managerial manner, it becomes even easy things become difficult. So we have no choice but to surrender to the Lord and hear his pastimes. How is it that Prabhupada, for hours on end on Janmashtami, would like to hear the Krishna book? It's like, he wrote so many books and they're fasting all day, but still he's taking great relish and great happiness to hear the pastimes of Krishna. So this is not some artificially, I like it, I'm happy. Maybe we don't have so much attraction, but it seems that the more we hear and the more that inspires us or moves us to try to follow the process of bhakti, the more quickly we'll be coming to Krishna. Because if we have 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 years left, it's in a very small amount of time. I just remember, like yesterday, just coming into the Krishna consciousness, it's almost 47 years. And when you're young, every day it seems like it's going to take a long time. But Krishna, he comes in the form of time. And time is wearing away everything. And so if we waste our time, we cannot buy it back for millions of dollars. You may think, oh, I'm a rich man, I'll buy the time back. When you have to leave this world, you have to leave. So we need to make all the preparations in a positive, enthusiastic way. And the best process is by chanting the Lord's holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And when you're chanting, and maybe in the temple room, you're praying to Krishna, praying to Lord Balaram, praying to Shri Shri Gaur Nitai, Radha Shama Sundalita Vishaka Devi, that I've fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up and engage me as one of your eternal servants. So Krishna, he hears the prayers. It's not that Krishna doesn't care. He cares about everything. We're the ones that are just wanting to be given that freedom, like to do what we want to do. But if we take guidance from our parent, Krishna, from our well-wisher, Srila Prabhupada, and the devotees, you stay in the association of devotees, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of the Lord, chant the holy name, worship Tulsi Devi, live in Sri Vrindavan Dham, some basic principles of devotional service, then all the other good qualities will be manifesting automatically. And this is the whole message of Bhagavad-Gita, that by using our intelligence, using our mind, chanting and hearing about the holy name, then we'll be in Krishna, we'll be living with Krishna on a different dimension, a spiritual dimension. Devotees don't have to worry about the time of day that they pass away. You know, there's this time or that time. One who's depending on Krishna and serving Krishna, Krishna will protect him. Imagine Krishna's coming on the back of Garuda, and there we are in the waves of the ocean, and vicious animals, sharks and barracudas, and we're going to drown. But Krishna comes on Garuda to lift us out of this ocean of birth and death. It's not just some fairy tale, because who can make up all these the incredible creation from the Vaikuntha planets, Galoka Vrindavan, to the Mahatattva, to Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Kshirodaksha Vishnu, and Lord Brahma, the planetary system, the progenitors, the creators, and how life in general manifests itself, and how people are illusioned to live like animals and repeatedly chewing the chewed, and there's no happiness in this material world, only suffering. But it takes a long, long time to come to that realization. So, how lucky we are that Prabhupada is coming and is giving us, and is still with us in his books. Because if one says, well, how do I take shelter of Prabhupada? Read his books every day. That people, unfortunately, sometimes we're too smart. We think, oh, but there are so many acharyas, we can read so many. Prabhupada said we should read acharya's books. But Lord Brahma, 3 times, he very meticulously studied the Vedic literature. So it's not like, by the time even if you read Bhagavad-Gita every single day, you have newer and newer realizations. Read the whole Bhagavatam, the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Prabhupada saying, Jiva Goswami says, Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Sridhar Maharaj says. So many places that Prabhupada is drawing from all the acharyas, but because the acharya, the pure devotee, understands the temperament, the mentality, and the time, place, and circumstance, he's giving us the best medicine in the best way, the holy name of the Lord, association of devotees, and hearing the katha of Krishna. We don't need to recreate the wheel. It's already established. So next few days we'll be hearing more nectar coming. For those who cannot follow the full surrender process, then do this, then do that. So Krishna is very kind. On all levels of our surrender, he reciprocates. Ultimately, to lead us to pure devotional service, the Brahma-bhuta stage, bhakti, devotional service. There's a lot of discussion about impersonalism, voidism, atheism, but we just want to hear about Krishna and love Krishna by this process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Srila Prabhupada ki. So any question or comment? Yes, Prabhu.
You mentioned in your class that we should have taste in chanting. That is in the sixth stage means after nishtha, there is some ruchi.
Yes.
So one who is in the beginning stage, like you mentioned, that having desire for sense enjoyment means is having anartha. So when one is having all the anarthas and not associating with sadhus, so how he will reach to the nishtha or ruchi to upper level?
So in the beginning, when one has many anarthas and desires, how could he come to the higher platform of the ruchi, of having a taste? This sadhu sangha, this is very important. Shraddha, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti. So little faith in the beginning, because without faith you're not even going to come to the temple or open up the books. So faith is important. Then when you realize that, okay, I have a lot of desires, but let me stay in the association of devotees. Because it's said that if we associate with those who are in the mode of passion and ignorance, in the lust and greed in particular, then these rub off on us even more so. So this is why that real yoga and meditation is performed in solitary or spiritual atmospheres. That's why living in the temple or creating a temple within wherever you're at means that regulation. But like if you're sick, you say, doctor, how do I become healthy? You have to follow a diet and medicine. So the regulation is rise early in the morning, to stay clean, chant the holy name, sadhana bhakti, worship Tulsi Devi, worship the Guru, hear the Bhagavad class, take prasad with all devotees, and then chant enthusiastically. Your prescribed rounds is given. Prabhupada says 16 rounds is nothing. Sometimes they would chant 150 rounds, and so all day long chanting the holy name. But so even though we may have many desires and don't have that intense taste, if we follow the formula very carefully, and if we take our medicine by chanting the holy names and keeping strict association with devotees, this is number one emphasis, to not associate with those who are non-devotees and are driven by lust and greed in particular. Then it pollutes our mind and consciousness. So the time will come when the anartha nivritti, or the bad qualities, bhajana kriya, by the process of devotion, will uncover, so that you will actually taste that pure consciousness. Again, we need faith. Association, Rupa Goswami says, utsahan nischayat tarayat tat karma pavardhana, enthusiasm, determination, and patience. We should not be overly restless. We should be patient in the sense that we may not have a material calculation. Well, I've been chanting Hare Krishna for 20 years, why nothing's happening? And we have to see our offenses, what's our mentality, and by good association we'll be inspired to see that others are advancing, and the more I hear about Krishna, the more I follow, I feel strength developing then, like that. Any other question? Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.